Ayanda knows the right people. Take a look what happens behind.
On the 12th of February 2015, members of the National Assembly, the National Council of Provinces, the Executive, the Judiciary, business fraternity, civil society, religious organization and ordinary South Africans will be gathered here in Parliament to hear President Jacob Zuma deliver the State of the Nation address. We're bringing you a sneak peek at exactly where they'll be and what they'll be getting up to. Our trusty tour guide and reliable source is parliamentary spokesperson Luzuko Jacobs. He led us to the National Assembly chamber where President Jacob Zuma will deliver the State of the Nation address. For the first time this year, it will be ladies first, as the first female Imbongi, Mrs. Khato Masemola from Mamoshalela, Limpopo, will kick off proceedings inside the chamber.
You are at a place where it all happens. The procession will come in through this door, led by the usher of the Black Road and the sergeant at arms carrying the mace. Those are the symbols of Parliament's authority, the authority of the Speaker and the authority of the National Council of Provinces chairperson. And of course, you're going to have the Secretary to Parliament, you're going to have the presiding officers, you're going to have the President in the procession. And then right here, you're going to have the Imbongi. One of the things that former President Nelson Mandela bequeathed to us, to this Parliament, to this ceremony, was to reinvent it from a ceremony that is steeped in protocol. And he somehow found a way that only Madiba could do to integrate public participation into the State of the Nation address ceremony and Africanize it, because the various other aspects of the State of the Nation address are inherited from the Westminster system, but the public participation element particularly make it distinctly not only African but distinctly South African, and the Imbongi is one such feature.
And as with most high-end gatherings, seating arrangements are key. You wouldn't want your ever talkative Aunt Betsy sitting next to highly irritable Uncle James, now would you?
This whole section right here are seats that are assigned to the ruling party, to the majority party. And right across is the opposition parties, with the official opposition seated right here. And all the way down, you have got the various parties that are represented in Parliament following the elections. That's the gallery. That's where we have our guests. That's not part of the chamber. So the chamber is the floor, is this part. This is where the rules apply, but also the rules apply that people there do not participate in what is happening in the chamber. So in other words, people do not clap hands or interject or speak, or that kind of thing. They sit and they're guests and they listen to what is happening here. You've got civil society there, you've got business there, you've got the religious sector there. You've got various categories of people who are going to be here. In fact, we've got members of the public who are going to be there. Right there at the top is the presiding officer's seat. Because it's a joint sitting, that means that the chairperson of the National Council of Provinces as well as the Speaker of the National Assembly are going to be presiding jointly over the sitting on that day of the State of the Nation address. And right here behind me is the seat of the President. You'll see that it's different to all others because it's got the coat of arms. It bears the coat of arms. This is the seat of the President. So he's basically going to be moving from here to the podium, which is right here. That's where he's going to be delivering his State of the Nation address.
Those who can participate will enjoy the upgrades in Parliament as officials have pimped our parley.
Quite a bit of upgrade that we have done to this chamber to equip it to execute its business even more effectively. With the upgrade that we have done, it's actually going to be a totally new broadcast experience in terms of the quality of the feed and the various angles that we now can have with the additional cameras and the upgrade in terms of moving towards providing higher definition visuals for the viewers at home. And you'll see in front of all the seats, you have got gadgets. And these gadgets assist the members when they exercise their responsibilities in the chamber. It's about accessing information, having information at your fingertips. And it's actually a power efficient system In other words, it uses very little electricity, or relatively little electricity, to keep it running. But also it saves us, and it's part of the strategy to reduce Parliament's own carbon footprint.
Once the address is done and dusted, guests are expected to walk through these corridors draped in symbols of our rich arts and cultural heritage to the various reception venues for what I'd like to call the after party.
After the official proceedings are over, then it's time for people to network, it's time for people to connect, it's time for people to reflect. And to facilitate this, we host a reception as Parliament. Now, obviously, we are South African, and we know that as South Africans, we're preoccupied with belt tightening in everything that we do, particularly ourselves as Parliament. We have to lead by example as far as that's concerned. So where in the past we would hire a venue outside of Parliament at cost, and that's one thing that really drove up costs for the event, together with the related costs of transporting guests. And we're talking about over 1,700 guests to be transported from Parliament to a venue. Now, Parliament utilizes venues within the precinct, Parliament's own venues. But unfortunately, you cannot have a venue that can accommodate that number of people. So people are going to be split up and located at different venues. It's not convenient, but it's the best we can do also to limit costs. Our entertainment. We use up-and-coming local talent to give exposure and opportunity to people from the local communities, but at the same time saving costs on well-established brands of people who in the past had come to provide entertainment at the reception. So these and various other ways Parliament employs to seek to limit costs. The alcohol is one of the casualties this year in particular. We're just providing wine and a very limited stock.
Ayanda Allie Paine, Parliament.